Hello everyone, today I will be talking about how to create a stress-free caravanning experience. I will offer some hints, tricks and suggestions based on my personal past experiences, and I will also provide you with some links and tools that I use to better plan my breaks and reduce last-minute worries. There is a caravanning holiday for everyone, just waiting to be planned, and sometimes the process can get a little overwhelming, especially when you forget to pack some essential items or something goes wrong and you regret not grabbing that screwdriver before you left home. My video will hopefully give you a general guidance to make your experience more relaxing using a methodical system that allows you to plan and prepare in advance of your trip. The other day I asked my other half, how do you decide where you want to go on holiday? And his answer was, well, I go with whatever you say. Now, you might chuckle to yourself, thinking that he has simply replied in that way just for an easy life. However, I can prove to you that his response actually shows that my methods of creating a stress-free caravanning holiday is working for both of us. After all, he keeps coming out with me over and over again, even when I say I'm going caravanning on my own. So I'm convinced that all my efforts are paying off, and with a little pre-planning, which I'm going to show you in this video, I'm making the whole process a little easier. I have been planning my own holidays for many years, and I have clearly identified 4 different steps that ultimately make my life a little bit easier each time. I will first start with the research stage, because as much as I like impromptu holidays organised by someone else, I still want to know if the destination I will be going to is somewhere I actually want to go to, and what it has to offer, especially since I will be spending my money for the holiday. The second stage will be to make a rough plan of what I want to do in the area, decide on dates and commit to make the necessary camping bookings. In this section, there is a lot to talk about, and I will expand a little more later on in this video. In the third stage, I will be talking about the dreaded packing process and how to best prepare for each holiday. And finally, I will talk about the last part of the process, which is enjoying the holiday. And this might come to a surprise to you, but I believe for some people, this can start as soon as they leave home to start their journey. Before we talk about each stages, I'm going to share the tools I use to help me plan a stress-free holiday. There are 4 main documents I rely upon to help me achieve a stress-free caravanning holiday. If you would like to give it a try, you will find the links to download these documents in the video description below. This trip itinerary can be amended to suit your journey. It allows you to collect all important booking information into one document for easy access. This is where I include details about specific events or places of interest I want to visit during my holiday. It depends on how in-depth you want to go with your research. I use this as my go-to main document, where sometimes I even include car park details and motorway services as reference points for my journey. The template is set up to allow you to enter the number of miles you will be driving between your chosen points. It automatically calculates a rough estimate of how long it will take to drive there, and also gives you a rough estimate of your fuel costs based on the criteria you set, such as fuel cost per litre and how many miles per gallon your car normally does when towing. The document is fully customizable, so you can tailor it to your needs. The next document I use is a comprehensive packing list, because in my experience, in the rush of the moment trying to leave your home, it happens that important things are left behind. This document is divided into sections and contains a full list of everything you would need to pack to have a comfortable caravanning trip. Again, fully customizable to suit your needs. For example, I have recently added a section on cycling gear, as I found myself drawn into this type of holiday, didn't want to risk forgetting important items. Kitchen appliances, bathroom items such as toiletries, bed linen and even personal clothes are listed in this document, which helps greatly when I'm starting to physically pack any items and load them into the caravan. If you, like myself, arrive at a campsite and forget if you should be connecting the electrical cable to your caravan or to the campsite source first, then the touring checklist is what you need. This document covers the very essential steps to both prepare your car to tow before departure, what you need to do when arriving at the campsite, as well as what you need to do when you leave, all in a specific order. It also contains a section where you can fill in your own details, such as a car and caravan specification, insurance details, and personal emergency contacts. I normally print 2 copies of this document and keep one in the car glove compartment for when I'm out and about. There is one last document I fill in to make sure I have it all covered. It's a simple meal plan. Even when my intentions are to eat out a lot, I still like to jot down a few meal ideas and load my caravan with necessary ingredients to prepare or simply reheat meals. I have been on caravanning holidays with friends, family, with my partner, and by myself too. And each time I try to stock up my fridge, freezer, and cupboards just to be able to have some choices, especially when the weather is terrible and I don't fancy going out for a meal. This document is divided into different columns to make your packing and loading of your caravan much easier on the day of departure. I normally empty the home fridge and cupboards as I go along, crossing off items from the list until I have everything I need to take away with me. And if I don't have some of these ingredients, the last column allows me to create a shopping list of items I don't have at home, which I then take away with me to shop at the supermarket before my departure. There is no specific section for snacks and drinks, but I incorporate these at the bottom of the page. Don't forget your barbecue supplies and food if you want to cook al fresco. Also, when planning your meals, don't forget to think about the pots, pans, and oven trays you will need to bring with you for cooking. Now, it's time to review each stage in more detail. First of all, you need to ask yourself what type of holiday you want to go on. Are you looking to go away to attend a specific event, for example, a concert, a group gathering, the Scottish Highland Games? Or are you going away with your canoe or push bike to have a more active break? These are the things that will influence the next steps. Once you decide on the type of holiday you want to go on, you can then concentrate on researching a specific location. Jot down a few ideas. Create a short list of destinations you always wanted to visit. Where can you find the best lakes or rivers to use your canoe? Perhaps you want to try a tour of Scotland in search of the highest waterfalls, or explore the Norfolk coast looking for the best places to spot seals. As you own a caravan or are about to buy one, chances are you will want to use it as much as possible. So having a few different destinations to choose from is not such a bad idea, since you can plan in advance and reserve any destinations for years to come. Check the calendar. Decide on the time of year you wish to go away. The good thing about caravanning is that you can pack almost anything you wish to take with you to make your break away from home feel more comfortable. So going away in winter is not as challenging as you might think. It is likely you will have a fully heated caravan and hot water at a ready whenever you need it. Do some research, deciding on a time depending on what's important to you. For example, if you're a keen bird watcher and don't want to miss the chance to spot puffins at Scomer Island, then June is the best time to visit, or so I'm told. Ultimately, choose the time of the year that suits your needs. Unless you intend to eat in your caravan every day, it might be worth finding out if there are any recommended places to eat near the location you intend to visit. No doubt the campsite owner will give you some local recommendation, but sometimes it is nice to be prepared, especially if there are certain local dishes you know you should really not miss out on. Are you into fine dining? Are you looking forward to trying freshly caught fish at one of Rick Stein's restaurants on the south coast, or Scottish haggis in the Highlands? These are all the questions that will be specifically related to the destination you choose to visit. Researching what the area has to offer will allow you to feel a little more relaxed by simply having options to choose from during your visit. Be prepared to review all of the above points once more. Even with your best intentions and meticulous planning, there are so many different elements that will need to come together to make your holiday experience an excellent one. You might find not everything falls into place at this stage, but you're certainly up to a good start. The second stage of the process is to plan and book. Now it's time to look at your destination and book your campsites. Make sure the campsite you have chosen can offer what you need, for example, electric hookup or facilities such as toilet and shower block, if you don't have or don't want to use your own onboard facilities. If your caravan is self-sufficient, with its own power generation such as solar panels, you might want to try go off-grid, therefore you'll need a campsite with no facilities at all, just offering fresh water and waste disposal point, which is really the minimum campsites should offer. Even when self-sufficient, in England you can't just park anywhere you want, so you still need to research to find a campsite. A simple CL with minimum facilities, also known as certified location, will be sufficient. These campsites are normally part of the Caravan and Motor Club home or the Camping and Caravanning Club, and offer various service levels, normally at lower prices than full club sites, but there are exceptions where I have come across small CLs that offer spectacular services and facilities, not at the cheapest prices, but still very reasonable. If you are using an awning, ensure that the pitch you have booked is large enough to accommodate the length and width of the caravan with the awning attached. If you have a caravan with entrance door to the rear, such as a Swift base camp, adding an awning will mean you need a long pitch of up to 8 meters, and some campsites will have a reduced number of spacious pitches. The last thing you want is to turn up at the campsite and find that all large pitches have been booked up already and you are not able to use your awning. I just briefly mentioned clubs, and here is the part where people ask which club to choose from, the Caravan and Motorhome Club or the Camping and Caravanning Club. There is a long debate among seasoned caravanners. For many years, I have been member of the Caravan and Motorhome Club, but depending on where my holiday destination takes me, I'm open to choose any campsites that suit my needs. Recently, I was planning my next holiday to Scotland and found a more convenient campsite location that was part of the Camping and Caravanning Club. When I looked at the amount of money I would be paying as a non-member, I worked out that if I were to join the club officially, the price for my stay as a member plus the price for the membership itself just set me out of pocket of only £2. But what it gave me in return was a full year of possibilities to stay at any of their other campsites at a reduced member rates. So it turns out I'm now a member of both, but there are some clear differences between the two. In my experience, I have found that the facilities in the Caravan and Motorhome clubs are more modern looking and possibly less used, since the club mostly accepts motorhomes and caravans only. The Camping and Caravanning Club is open to all, including tents, therefore this increases the use of the facilities in general. Ultimately, both clubs have a very large network of campsites throughout the country, so the only suggestion I would make, unless you have specific needs, is to be open to choose any campsites, including independent ones, depending on the location you want to be in. Once you have your campsites booked, you can start looking at your trip itinerary. Are there any activities or museums you can only visit on specific days of the week? You can use the template I mentioned earlier to add some options to make alternative plans. The itinerary can also help to keep a note on possible service stops along your journey. Some motorway or A-road service stations do not have a dedicated caravan or lorry area for you to stop at. It could be quite challenging to navigate through small car parks that are just designed for small vehicles. There are many websites I rely upon to collect my information to build my own holiday plans. For example, the Motorhome Services website allows you to select a specific road, and it shows you all the services along that road, including the brand of fuel station and what shops they have on site. It doesn't just cover motorways, but also services on A roads, and for me, it is an invaluable tool to use when I go on car journeys longer than 3 hours. To relieve me from the stress of parking, especially at peak times or in very busy locations, I do my research using a website called Parkopedia. When you set a time and date of your planned visit, this website will show you prices of all car parks within a specific area or town, including free car parks and supermarket car parks with a limited time stay for customers only. I'm not an expert in cycling, but if you're interested in this topic or want to give it a try, and like me have found the South Strands website, the National Cycle Network, a little difficult to navigate, then you might find a more user-friendly website called Cycling UK, where you can explore several routes through the country. Then there is the AA website, National Trust, English Heritage, RSPB websites. These are all very good sources that will allow you to add points of interest to your itinerary and give you plenty of destinations to choose from during your holiday. Which brings me to the next subject of membership benefits. Over the years, I have been members of various societies, including English Heritage and National Trust, and I really have to boast on their services, together with the hard work the staff and volunteers put to make many places in the UK more accessible to all. Stately homes, national landscapes, historical locations, and many more are brought to life and are accessible with or without subscribing to a membership. However, as I found through my many travels around the country, if you're a member, you can take advantage of free parking and discounts provided to you by the society you wish to join. It has given my family a greater deal of flexibility, knowing I can reach more places and at the same time contributing to organisations that continually improve nature, landscape and historical places all around the UK. I like to have a plan. However, I'm always prepared to change my plans while I'm away, especially where outdoors activities are subject to optimal weather conditions. So schedule a half day or a day into your plan just to unwind and relax, to give yourself a break. Perhaps if your campsite is close by a local pub, you might want to pop in for a few hours, or if there is a park that can be reached on foot, take a picnic blanket with a good book and enjoy some tranquility nearby. Or use this time to reschedule your activities if things change. For example, if during your holiday an event is rescheduled, or if you were unaware that a museum was only open on a specific date. The third stage of the process is to pack and prepare for the journey. A week before departure, I make sure I have my packing list template printed out and ready for use. I start to collect some of the items listed here and place them in dedicated crates that I will then use to either load into the car or the caravan directly. No need for bulky suitcases, and in fact, I really do not suggest that luggage and suitcases should be used for a caravanning holiday. These would only get in the way. The packing list allows me to remember all those important items I really mustn't forget for my holiday, especially when it comes to locks and keys for safety on site. Allen keys, screwdrivers, and general useful tools are all listed in this document so that you don't get caught out short when in need of assistance. In my experience, most campsite owners and fellow caravanners are very helpful in case of need, but I like to try to resolve small issues myself first, before I go bother somebody else. Regarding navigation and coordinates, we've all been caught into that awful situation where you have taken the wrong turn whilst towing and ended up on an unsuitable road, whether it was a genuine mistake or you were intentionally misled by your own sat-nav. Before each trip, I bring out my old-fashioned paper copy map of the country and use it alongside online maps to follow the road I will be going to travel on, making sure I stick to main roads as much as possible without surprises. When towing a caravan, sometimes it is essential to plan your route in advance. Unless you have a dedicated caravanning sat-nav, there is a risk that your Garmin, TomTom, Google Maps or car navigation system might take you down a road you really should not be on. I personally use Google Street View to see exactly where my campsite destination is, and I also use the Grid Reference Finder website to pin the exact location of my turning, to then use in my own sat-nav with coordinates. If you don't feel the need to go into such details, just be sure you know where you're going, as turning back whilst towing a caravan because you have missed a turning always adds an element of stress to journeys. When talking about loading car and caravan, the first rule here is, if it moves, it should be secured. To make sure that your caravan is balanced correctly, heavy items are best placed in the bottom drawers and cupboards, in particular near the main chassis of the caravan. I personally prefer to pack some heavy items such as glass bottles or jars into a crate to load into my car instead. The most important rule here is to make sure that the caravan is loaded correctly, avoiding adding all extra weight to one end, and a similar principle applies to your car, where I tend to distribute the weight of awnings, chairs, and heavy loose items such as the caravan locks across the back seats of the car or on the footwell behind the seats. We have already established that a caravan gives you a great deal of cooking possibilities. Some have microwaves and others also have full-size ovens. And if you're just looking to heat up your meals, but like me, you don't have a microwave on board, it is likely you will be using the hobs more. There are certain meals that have become staples for each of my holidays. Things such as curries and chili con carne can be easily prepared in bulk at home, then frozen directly in Tupperware, and easily defrosted and warmed up once you're away. 2 days before departure, I go to the supermarket for one last big shop. 1 day before departure, I prepare curries or chili, ready portioned to be taken away. The day before, I also prepare lunch on the go if my journey is going to last more than 4 hours, also making sure that I have snacks ready in the car in case a sugar rush is needed. In my experience, there is always a convenience shop or supermarket nearby once I'm at my destination, and even club site receptions have essential food supplies to purchase if you ever run out. No need to panic about food. Finally, we've all been caught out in less than favourable weather conditions, wearing clothes not suited to the situation at hand. With a little forward planning, you can avoid a painful sunburn or getting drenched to the bones under torrential rain. The trick here is to prepare for all weathers and arm yourself with a few things to take with you when you're out and about. You can bring almost anything in the caravan, but how do you make sure you remember to take useful things with you when you go out for the day? Perhaps you can prepare a small rucksack to fill with essentials such as sunscreen, hat and umbrella, a compact waterproof poncho, change of socks, and don't forget a small first aid kit too. I tend to keep a spare pair of shoes and clean socks in the boot of my car, just in case I need them. Checking the forecast before you go out for the day is a good idea. Sometimes it's not as accurate as you would hope for, but it still does help. Decide what you need for the location and situation you're going to be in. If your day out is to a shopping centre or through town, you will probably be sheltered most of the time and might not need anything at all, except for a small umbrella to shield you from the rain as you hop from one shop to the next. We are almost ready to go, and the fourth and final part of this process is finally here. There are certain steps you must review before you tow a vehicle. Firstly, you need to ensure that when you're sitting in your car, you're able to see on both sides along the caravan length of approximately 4 meters on either side and at a distance of 20 meters. This is a low requirement, which means most cars will require to have towing mirrors fitted when towing. Secondly, check the pressure of your car tyres and adjust accordingly. It is not just the caravan tyres that need checking, but your car tyres too. Details of the specific pressure your car tyres need can be normally found in the car handbook or on a nameplate around the driver's door. You inflate the tyres when towing to ensure more evenly wear, and in some cases this also helps with fuel efficiency. But remember that overinflating can work against you. Therefore, always pay attention to your own car's recommendation for carrying heavy loads. Once inside the car, surround yourself with comforts to prepare for the drive ahead. For example, I have 2 cup holders in the central console, and I use these to have a bottle of water in one slot and a travel cup of coffee in another. I also normally keep a small cool bag handy with some snacks or packed lunch, so that when we make stops along the way, we don't have to go grab the food from inside the caravan itself, especially in poor weather conditions. You have made lists. You don't want to forget anything. Check them to make sure you have indeed ticked all the boxes to prepare. I like to begin my journey by jotting down on my trip itinerary template my car miles at departure, and then again upon my return home, to find out exactly how many miles I have driven. If you are splitting the fuel costs with your journey companion, in my experience it is easier to start the journey on a full tank and refill to full again upon your return, so that you have a clearer idea of the total spent for the entirety of the holiday, including refilling during your break, and keep all the receipts, of course. If you are lucky enough that your destination is within reach without the need for fuel, then you might not need to worry about motorway breaks. It is important to remember that not all service stations have enough space to accommodate caravans or large vehicles. In my experience, I have found Moto to be one of the better motorway service companies that cater for caravans, motorhomes and lorries in dedicated areas which are more accessible. It is worth doing some research on this topic beforehand if you're planning a long drive. Normally, motorway services allow you to stay parked for free for 2 hours, which is plenty of time for a pit stop, stretch your legs, have a bite to eat, and get fuel for your car before setting off again. As common courtesy, I have now started emailing the campsites I'm going to stay at a couple of days before my departure, just to reconfirm my stay with them. So far, this has proven to be useful for both myself and the campsite owners, as a reminder and courtesy gesture. These work best if you're staying at a private or small certified location, where the owner might not be home 24/7. If you're stuck in traffic and estimate you will be late, it is best to alert your destination of this, as they will be more appreciative than you turning up at 9 p.m. If you're staying at a larger campsite with manned reception, they also close after a certain time, and it is likely you have already paid a deposit for your stay. Normally, larger campsites tend to have a late arrival area where you can temporarily stay until they reopen the next day. However, even with this option, it is common courtesy to call the campsite to let them know of your estimated time of arrival, in case they need to make special arrangements to accommodate your caravan outside the gates. Once you finally arrive on site, setting up on your pitch takes some practice, depending if the terrain is rough or sloping. Even with a small caravan, I have always tried to use motor movers to adjust the position to reach optimum level. With motor movers engaged, caravan unhitched, I open the back door of the caravan and place a small spirit level on the floor, and then guide the caravan to the right position, judging the side levelness of the caravan. For front and back, I use the hitch itself to lower or raise the front of the caravan. With feet down, brake on, and motor movers disengaged, there are still a couple of things to do before you can relax, such as connecting to the water, either directly from the tap if you have a serviced pitch, or by collecting water with an aqua roll. Connect to electricity, set up your wastewater container, top up the toilet flusher with water and the right chemicals, and finally attend to the gas bottle to make it flow through the pipes so that your kitchen is ready whenever you need it. With all that in mind, now go in, put the kettle on, sit down and enjoy your holiday. There is so much more I could talk about on this subject. I can reassure you it comes with experience. The more you go out and about caravanning, the more you will learn. And yes, we all made mistakes along the way, but we soon learn of what to do and not to do on the next time. Please feel free to ask any questions, leave a comment or share your experiences in the box below. I truly hope this video has been helpful and see you next time.